Pulling up at the side of the road, I wiped my eyes. I was angry, no scratch that I was furious. How could he do that to me, his own daughter? Taking out my phone, I looked through my contacts, pressing dial, when I found my mom's number. Putting it on speaker, I waited for her to answer. Ava baby, are you alright? Hey, honey. Mom, I sobbed, my body starting to shake. I don't think I've ever cried this much in my entire life. I should never have come here. Why did I have to be so stupid? What did that bastard do? She roared. Ava baby, please talk to me. Sniffing and rubbing at my nose, I cleared my throat. He doesn't want me, Mom. Why doesn't he want me? What did I do wrong? I cried, wishing I was at home with her curled up on the sofa instead of being here all alone in a city I didn't know. I was hurt and angry. What man doesn't want to get to know his own daughter? You listen to me, Eva Maria Mendez, and you listen good. You have done nothing wrong. This is not your fault. Please, baby, don't blame yourself, and please tell me, where are you? I knew my mom was angry, but I knew it wasn't with me. My mom didn't entirely hate my dad, but this might have just pushed her over the edge, and she only ever used my full name when she was angry. I don't know, I've been circling for about an hour. I want to come home, I croaked. I had no idea where I was. I know, baby, but I don't want you driving right now, not when you're in this state. Please, baby, find a motel to sleep tonight, and call me tomorrow when you've had some rest. Okay, Mom, see you soon. Love you. Love you too, baby. Little did I know I would be seeing my mother a lot sooner than what I thought. Throwing my phone onto the passenger seat, I looked around my surroundings. Nothing. Not even a street name. Starting my engine, I searched for somewhere I could go. There had to be at least an all-night diner about. Making a left turn, I sighed with relief when I spotted one. Stopping outside, I grabbed my bag, locked my car, and headed inside. Rough night. You could say that. I said, placing the menu back in the stand. You ready to order, sweetie? I'll just take a coffee, thanks, I smiled as she wrote it down and walked away. Glancing at my phone screen, it was just coming up on 9:30 p.m. What a long, horrible day. As my coffee was placed in front of me, I smiled at the waitress. What in the world was I going to do? I had no idea where I was, and I was in need of a good night's sleep. As a yawn escaped my mouth, I pushed back my chair and stood up. Heading over to the counter, I waited for some service. The place was dead, but I didn't want to be rude and shout out, "You want something else, sweetie? Could you put this in a takeaway cup for me, please?" Sure thing, honey. Handing me back my coffee, I left the diner. Could I sleep in my car? Would it be safe enough? Walking to my car, my face fell into a scowl. The same time, my heart skipped a beat. Shouldn't be out here alone, darling. Great, just what I needed. How did he know where to find me? My day had just gone from bad to worse. Blaze was leaning against my bumper, smoking a cigarette. Last time I checked, I didn't need a babysitter. You come to put a gun to my head again? I sneered, stopping next to my car. I didn't trust him, and if I'm honest, he scared the living shit out of me. Getting a good look at him, I noticed the bruising that covered his left eye and the deep gash that lay above it. What in the world happened to him? His eyes fell into slits as he glared at me. That small action caused me to take a small step back. Throwing his cigarette away, he stood up straight and put his hands in the front pockets of his jeans. Well, ain't you a mouthy little witch? He smirked, causing my face to pale. Relax, babe, I ain't gonna hurt you, just making sure you're alright. My mouth fell open. He was here because he wanted to make sure I was alright? Of course I wasn't alright. He had a gun to my head less than 3 hours ago. Folding my arms under my chest, I walked closer, feeling more confident this time. Why the hell do you care? You don't know me, and if I'm honest, I'd like you to go away and leave me alone. Turning on my heels, I walked to the driver's side of my car and was about to open the door when he grabbed hold of my upper arm. No can do, princess. Orders from the man himself. I need to make sure you're safe, and I ain't allowed to leave your side till it's daylight. You have got to be kidding me. Feeling the anger rise within me, I shook off his hand. Get your hands off me and tell that pathetic excuse for a dad that I don't need a fucking babysitter. I snapped, opening my car door only for it to be slammed shut. Listen, you spoilt little bitch, you ain't leaving my side till I say you can. Now get that pretty little ass of yours on the back of my bike before I make you. He growled. Even though I was shaking inside, I wasn't letting him see that I'm not going back to the clubhouse and you can't make me. Who did he think he was? A spoilt little bitch? I was far from spoiled. Everything I have has been earned, not handed to me on a silver plate. Just get on the damn bike, Eva. Aubrey's POV. How could that bastard do that to her? It was nearing midnight when I arrived in New York. I was now standing outside the clubhouse back in this shitty little town. I could hear the music and laughter from inside, and it just made me more mad. I was fuming, but I was more worried and scared because Eva wasn't answering her phone. Where the fuck is he? I roared, causing the laughter to die down. This place had not changed one bit, it even smelled the same. A mixture of motorcycle oil, leathers, cigarettes, and let's not forget sex. Scrunching my nose up, I ignored all the stares. Well, if it isn't little Aubrey. Gritting my teeth, I turned and came face to face with Tommy. Tommy was one of Franko's lifers and his best friend. He's been here for as long as I could remember. Where the fuck is he, Tommy? Who is that? A younger biker asked. This here, brothers, is Franko's old lady. Tommy smirked. The full place fell silent, the music stopping. Fuck off, Tommy. I hissed, having a good idea on where he would be. Probably in his office with a who*re between his Lou*gs. Bitch still makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. I heard Tommy mumble. Feeling the smirk form on my face, I winked at the young biker and disappeared through the clubhouse. Coming to a stop at his office door, I pulled it open, and there he was sitting in his chair. Slamming the door shut, his eyes snapped open. I marched over to him and grabbed the who*re by the hair. Ignoring her cries of protest, I dragged her across the floor and shoved her near the door. Get out, I snapped. While this was happening, Franko sat with a fucking smirk on his face. A smirk like he was fucking enjoying it. Picking up her clothes, the girl exited the room, quietly closing the door behind her. Watching the smirk fall into a glare, I swallowed the lump in my throat. He was a very intimidating man, but I knew him better than most, and I knew he wouldn't hurt me. What the fuck are you doing here? He snapped, buttoning up his leathers. How fucking could you? I shouted. Eva is your daughter, Francis. She looks up to you so much, even though you haven't been there. That poor girl dotes on you. I could feel my emotions getting the better of me, and I knew if I cried I would key *ck my own as *s later. You hurt my baby? I know she's my kid. Fuck, she looks just like me. He sighed, running a hand through his hair. I didn't hurt her, Aubrey, I just didn't know how to act around her. Then why would you throw her out? Why did she call me in hysterics about you not wanting her, asking what she had done wrong? Why, Franko? Why would you treat her like that? He could say or do whatever he wanted to me, but when it came to Eva, I was drawing a line. She had wanted this moment to be perfect. She had waited so long, and yes, I stopped her because I was afraid something like this would happen. Who the fuck are you to come up in here and start blaming me for this shit? I never threw her out. You're the one to blame. I roared, my voice breaking as I felt my eyes water. That chain you put on her as a child, she still fucking wears it. You broke her heart, and do you know what I'm glad you did? Because maybe now she'll move on and forget about you. I sneered. Slamming his hands on the desk, he stood from his chair and stormed towards me. Standing in front of me, he was so close I could feel his breath fanning my face. It was hard to believe that this was the man I had fell in love with, was still in love with, but couldn't ever bring myself to go back there. Always had a way with words, didn't you? He growled, grabbing my face in his hands. Always were a mouthy little shit. Don't touch me. I snapped, slapping my hands against his chest. Don't ever fucking touch me, Franko. Something inside of me broke, and I couldn't hold it together anymore. This is your fault. I slapped his chest again and again and again until I was sobbing, and if it wasn't for his arms cradling me, I would have broke down on the floor. I have no idea where my baby is. She's not answering her phone. What if something's happened to her? Darlin', relax, I have my VP watching over her, she's safe. His voice was soft and soothing, and it had been so long since I had heard it like that. So, because your VP is watching her, she's safe. How do you know she's safe when you were here with your WH*, or? I snarled, feeling the angry wash over me. You want me, Aubrey? He growled, grabbing me by the shoulders. I told you I'm not going back to the clubhouse. I glared at him as I placed my hands on my hips. This had been going on for at least half an hour. I half hoped he would have drove off and left me, but no such luck. Get on the damn bike, Eva. I'm not telling you again. He growled, running a hand through his hair. Where are you taking me, and why can't I take my car? I asked as I moved closer to him. I'll take you to a motel or something, just please get on the damn bike. Sighing, I gave up. It was getting cold, and I desperately needed to sleep. Fine, but only because I'm tired. As he mounted his bike, he chucked me his helmet for me to wear. As I got on behind him, I placed my hands on his sides. Why couldn't I have just followed him in my own car? You're going to have to hold on tighter than darlin'. Sticking my tongue out at his back, I wrapped my arms fully around him so they were touching in the middle. Happy? I yelled as the motorbike came to life and we were speeding out the parking lot. I had never been on the back of a bike before, and now I knew the reason why. I was scared in case I fell off. As Blaze picked up speed, my arms clung tighter to him, letting me get a good feel at his torso. Okay, now wasn't the time for coppin' a feel, but you can't blame me. Muscle was all I felt, not that I could get a good feel, but damn, his chest was solid. As the breeze blew through my hair, I couldn't help the smile that appeared on my face. This wasn't as bad as I thought it would have been. It gave me a sense of freedom, and Blaze really knew what he was doing, so the nerves and the scared feelings soon disappeared. Slowing down, he pulled the bike into a driveway and turned it off. Looking around the place, a frown appeared on my face. This wasn't a motel. Where are we? I asked as I demount the bike. Taking off the helmet, I ran a hand through my hair and passed it back to him. Placing the helmet over his wing mirror, he cracked me a grin. Welcome to my house, sweets. Couldn't have my Prez daughter staying in a motel now, could I? Sweets? Okay. I replied, although it came out as more of a question. Look, you'll be a lot safer here than any motel, and I need cleaned up and new clothes. He said, pointing at his face. It did look pretty swollen, and the gash above his eyebrow looked nasty. Shrugging my shoulders, I followed him inside. Just as I expected, plain and simply, not that I had a problem with it. Collapsing on the couch, I followed Blaze's retrieving figure until he disappeared. Now that I had finally got a comfy seat, I could feel my body going into shutdown mode. My eyes were growing heavy and I was almost asleep until I heard him cursing. Picking myself off the couch, I walked up to where he had disappeared and found him sitting at the kitchen table trying to stitch the cut up. Let me do that, I said, making my way towards him. No thanks, princess. Wouldn't want you getting your hands dirty. He smirked, picking up his cigarette from the ashtray. Glaring at him, I bit the inside of my cheek. I don't know what you think of me, and frankly, I don't really care, but for God's sake, let me do it before you do more damage. I hissed, pulling the needle out his hand. What do you know about stitching people up? He asked as he continued to smoke. I wanted to punch the smug look of his face. He obviously thought I knew nothing. I'm a doctor, you idiot. Now shut up and let me do this before it gets infected. I sighed, picking up some antiseptic wipes. No shit. He asked, looking at me wide-eyed. No fucking way. Yes, I am. Now shut up before I stitch your mouth together. I hadn't known this guy for a day and we were already bickering like an old married couple. After putting the last stitch in, I cut the thread loose from the needle and went to wash my hands. How did you get that anyway? You were fine early, I spoke, drying my hands on my jeans. Glancing up at me, he stood and walked towards the fridge, pulling out 2 beers he handed me. I wasn't a big beer drinker, but I needed one after tonight. Your old man, he muttered, taking a long drink of his beer. My dad did that to him? Holding the beer in my hand, I just stared at him. Why was I here? Why did my dad say he wanted me back home with mom, but then send his VP out to babysit me? Look, darlin', your old man ain't a bad guy. He's Dash. I'm really not interested in what you have to say about him, I whispered, taking a long drink and making my way back to the living room. What happened today with my dad gave me a different view on him. I didn't want to see him again, not if it was going to hurt this bad. I only ever wanted one thing, for him to be there for me, and yet he couldn't even do that. He didn't want to, didn't have the time. What do you mean you're not interested? Blaze asked, throwing himself in the chair across from me. What does it have to do with you? Why do you care? I asked, reaching for my necklace, only to remember I gave it back. As he moved around, his hand slipped into his front pocket. Looking for this? There it was, hanging from his finger. Why do you have that? I snapped, feeling really defensive. He shouldn't have my necklace. Prez gave me strict orders. Told me I had to get this back to you. Feeling the tears well in my eyes, I looked away from him. I don't want it back, I whispered, my voice breaking. Damn it. I had to get back home quick. I didn't know how much more tears I could take. As a yawn escaped my mouth, Blaze decided it was time for a subject change. Bet you could tell I was bursting with excitement. So you really are a doc? He asked. Was it so hard to believe that I actually had a good career in front of me? That I was going to make something of myself? Yes, graduated 2 months ago, but I can't for the life of me find a job. I sighed. No willing hospital wants to take on a doctor so young, which I think is complete bullshit. If they would just give me a chance, I'd prove just how good I am. Does Franko know? He asked, lighting up a cigarette. No, he doesn't. He doesn't know anything about me. How old are you, Eva? 23. I replied, putting my empty beer bottle on the carpet. Got a boyfriend? What is this 21 questions? I asked, deciding to ignore his question about having boyfriend. Watching the smirk form on his face, I felt my cheeks heat up. Why was I blushing, and why did I suddenly become nervous? Trying to make conversation, babe. He shrugged. The silence was killing me. He was watching my every move, and I couldn't sit still. Taking my phone from my pocket, I mentally cursed when I seen all the missed calls from my mom. Shit. I wonder if he'd let me take a shower. Not that I smelled, but I really needed to wash, and that would give me time to phone my mom and get out of his presence. He made me too damn nervous. Just as I was about to ask, he spoke before me. I got stuff to do. I'll be back in about an hour. Don't go nowhere, and don't answer the door. He barked, getting up from where he was sitting and disappearing into what I presumed to be his bedroom. He was not leaving me here by myself, no way. Following him, I pushed open the bedroom. My mouth fell open. He was shirtless. As my eyes greedily took in his bare back, I gasped when he turned around. His body was covered in bruises. You should get that looked at, I whispered, walking closer to him. Throwing on a clean shirt, he glared at me before he left the room. What did I do? Following him out, I watched him gear up, putting a knife in the side pocket of his jeans and a gun in his cut. Remember, don't open the door. You can't leave me here on my own. I glared, folding my arms over my chest. 1 hour is all I'll be. You'll be Dash. What? I'll be fine. I don't even know where the heck I am. Why bring me here if you had stuff to do? I asked, watching his eyes darken. Do you know what? It's fine, I'm leaving. You go do what you have to, and I'll just go back to my car and drive home. Turning, I grabbed my bag of the chair, only to have a hand clamp down on my shoulder. Hissing, I pulled back and moved away from him. Don't touch me, I snapped. Babe, you ain't going anywhere. Sit that little ass down and get comfortable. I won't be Dash. I'll just leave where you go. I smirked, cutting him off. Sighing, he pulled out his phone, pressed the dial button, and held it to his ear. Tonight, midnight, you have to do it. And then he hung up. Glaring at me, I gave him a sickly sweet smile. Can I have a shower? Do what the fuck you want, he grumbled, storming his way to the kitchen. Stepping out the shower, I wrapped the towel around my body. Sighing, I sat on the edge of the bathtub. Feeling my eyes grow heavy, I placed my arms on the sink and rested my head on them. I suddenly didn't feel too good, and I think it was all down to not sleeping or eating. I was dizzy and lightheaded. Turning on the cold tap, I splashed some water on my face. I had to pull myself together, get some sleep, and then get my ass out of here tomorrow. You done? I need to take a piss. Rolling my eyes, I went to stand, but lost my balance and ended up sliding on the wet floor, falling on my ass. Letting out a small scream, the door was suddenly burst open and Blaze was by my side. Ouch! Darlin', you alright? I'm fine, I whispered, but didn't make any attempt to get up. I couldn't get up, I was exhausted, and getting up sounded like too much work. Bringing my arms up, I placed them over my eyes, not realizing that doing that had made my towel loose. Feeling the slight breeze on my breasts, I snapped my eyes open and sat up, only to smack my head of the sink. Groaning, I fell back down, not caring that the front of my body was on view to a man I hardly knew. It's not like he hasn't seen boobs before. This is so embarrassing, I muttered, grabbing the towel so I was now covered. Hearing him chuckle made my cheeks go beetroot red. Why did this have to happen to me? Now to be embarrassed about Babe. Feeling his arms wrap around my front made me freeze until I realized he was helping me up. Once I was on my feet, I rubbed a hand over my face. When was the last time you slept? He asked, guiding me out of the bathroom and straight to his bedroom. I slept in my car outside the clubhouse, but properly it's coming on 3 days. I smiled, rubbing at the back of my head. I'm so tired. I yawned. Collapsing on his bed, I didn't care that I was still only in a towel. My head hit his pillow, and before I knew it, I was fast asleep. Please download Novels Ago and search the code in the upper left corner to continue reading.